Looking for a coffee that can finally give you the flavor and experience you have been missing? Then your next coffee order should be from SeaStateCoffee.com. Sea State Coffee is premium, hand-selected, highest-grade available coffee that is roasted on order, delivered fresh to you. And right now, you can take 10% off your order by using the code GRIND10. That's GRIND and the number 10 for 10% off your Sea State Coffee order. Head over to SeaStateCoffee.com so you can enjoy the smoothest and most caffeinated coffee available. Start your day off right with Sea State Coffee. This week on the Route 16 Grind, in the Outdoor Update, I'll talk about Senate Bill 3422, the Great American Outdoors Act. And from the field, I will talk about my first exposure to a 3D archery shoot and hanging with some members from the Central Carolina Archery Association. Instructor One from Ryker USA covers North Carolina law as it applies to wearing a mask and carrying a gun. In the Rock, Mud, and Dirt, I interview Paul from NEXEN, who provides us some details on why your ride should roll with NEXEN Tires. And Go Adventurer, we look back on some amazing people we have met and interviewed here on the Route 16 Grind. Then we wrap it up with a cup of Joe. Route 16 Grind, episode 25, Positive Vibes.
The Route 16 Grind is sponsored by Sea State Coffee, Warren Industries, Tuffy Security Products, and Route 16 Off-Road. Welcome to the Route 16 Grind, the podcast for outdoor adventurers. Each week, we bring you information related to off-road and outdoor activities. If you wheel, hunt, fish, overland, or are an all-around adventurer, this podcast is for you. Each week, we pour a cup of Sea State coffee and talk about informative topics, the gear, and the training that can help you have a successful outdoor adventure. We have amazing contributors and some great conversation. So, grab your cup and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts.
Welcome back to the Route 16 Grind, everyone. I am Brian. I am one of the hosts, and I'm going solo this week. Got some great territory to cover this week. We're going to talk about some new things, going to talk about some old things. We want to keep it very positive and refreshing. We covered a lot of, sensitive topics last week. I'm glad that we did it. We got some great feedback. I really appreciate those who wrote me, text me, all that kind of stuff like that. And, there was some great conversation that was able to be had because we're able to bring those, sensitive subjects up and have honest dialogue about it. And I really appreciate all the positive feedback. And you know what? And some of us were just going to agree to disagree, but that's okay. This is America. We can do it. Land the free, right? Damn right. We appreciate your posts and feedback. One of the best ways to help out the show is to post a 5-star review with your feedback on Stitcher and Apple Podcasts. This helps us grow the Route 16 Grind audience, and we get a chance to hear from you. So if you love the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating on Stitcher and Apple Podcasts today.
The Outdoor Update is brought to you by Tuffy Security Products. Having your vehicle broken into is not a laughing matter. Trust Tuffy Security Products to stop opportunistic thieves. Tuffy is the industry leader in automotive security and provides peace of mind when you walk away from your rig. Durable and easy to install. Tuffy Security Products has adventure-ready consoles, drawers, and lockboxes available for you to organize your rig and secure your gear. Visit TuffyProducts.com and use special offer code GRIND to save 10% on your order. Remember to lock it up.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Update, the weekly segment where we provide you the stories, news, and information from the recent going-ons in the outdoor world. This week, I'm going to talk about some landmark legislation that is up for vote in the U.S. Senate. This is Senate Bill 3422, also known as the Great American Outdoors Act. The intent of the bill is to amend Title 54, U.S. Code, to establish, fund, provide for the use of amounts in National Parks and Public Land Legacy Restoration Fund to address maintenance backlog of the National Park Service, the United States Fish and Game Wildlife Service, the Bureau of Land Management, the Forestry Service, and the Bureau of Indian Education, and to provide permanent dedicated funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. For fiscal year 2021 through 2025, there shall be deposited into the fund an amount equal to 50% of all federal revenues from the development of oil, gas, coal, and alternative and renewable energy on federal lands and waters. Deposit amounts must not exceed $1.9 billion for any fiscal year. The fund must be used for priority deferred maintenance projects and specific systems that are administered by the National Park Service, Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the Bureau of Indian Education. The Government Accountability Office must report on the effect of the fund in reducing the backlog of priority deferred maintenance projects for these specific agencies. Additionally, the fund makes funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the LWCF, permanent. The President shall annually report to Congress specified details regarding the allocation of funds to the LWCF. Congress must provide for alternative allocations using specific procedures. The bill is sponsored by Senator Cory Gardner, a Republican from Colorado. He's the one that introduced this into the Senate March of this year. This bill is co-sponsored by 59 other senators. In my case, both North Carolina senators have joined in the effort to pass this bill. What about your senator? Given it has a great chance of passing in the Senate, it will then go to the House for a vote. Make sure your representative knows how you feel about this bill passing. Contact them today. If you want to see if your senator is on a list of co-sponsors, then go to the link in our show notes. Personally, with all the government overreach due to COVID-19, I think this will be a great reminder that public lands should be and remain just that, public. And money that is created from the use of these lands should go back into it. No ifs, ands, or buts.
The Red Warren badge says you're equipped to handle anything, ready to conquer any challenge that may come your way. That badge has stood for off-road excellence for more than 70 years. During that time, we haven't stopped innovating or striving for perfection. Be ready. Be prepared. Go Warren.
When you hear the calls, you know we have a report from the field. This past weekend, I had a great opportunity to attend a 3D archery shoot hosted by the Moore County Bow Hunters of North Carolina. They are Archery Shooters Association certified, use all Mackenzie targets, which are best known for its premium competition targets found at top archery events around the world. This was an all-day event, and I was able to trail a fun group of archers to learn more about this type of competition. Once the group completed every station, I had the privilege to speak with Dan, who was kind enough to do an interview after a very long day of competition in some blistering North Carolina heat. Brian here. I'm with Dan. We are at the Moore County Bow Hunters of North Carolina 3D shoot, and we're going to talk about it. It was a phenomenal day. I learned a lot. I've never been in one of these experiences. So, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little about it.
Great. Well, yeah, we're one of the 5 clubs with the Central Carolina Archery Association. My home club is at Bunn, North Carolina, Tar River. I'd like to come down here. These guys always have a great set, good people. We like to come down here and shoot. It was a good day.
Yeah, so I noticed there's practice targets and there's a bunch of different targets that are replicating some type of wildlife out there. So There's like mountain lions, there's deers,
there are 3D animal targets. They all simulate animals that we all like to hunt or would like to hunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you always know the distance for those?
Some classes are known. They know the distance. They use rangefinders, and some classes are unknown, which we have to judge a yard with our eye.
When you spoke of classes, what are those different classes? If I was going to come out here and get into this event, what do I need to know?
It depends on your age, your equipment that you shoot, and your level of proficiency. We have a novice class that's open to all adults. It's got a 30-yard maximum, gets them close to the target, lets them get their feet wet, so to speak, and kind of feel it out, figure out if there's something that they want to do. And then they can move back to other classes, which we have a known 45 class, we have a known 50 class, which is 50 yards, 40 yards, and a 45 class. These are all known yards. People know how far the targets are, the scores are.
So that's what those different stakes are. There's like a white stake, there's an orange stake, there's very different colors. So I can walk up there, I sign up in a novice class, and pretty much I can be on cruise control then.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to shoot with the group? Can you shoot independent?
If you shoot for fun, we have a fun class where you can just come and pay $10 and go out and shoot for fun.
Right.
And let me say too, right quick, if you come to one of our shoots and it's your first time deal, you get to shoot for free.
Oh, wow.
You get to shoot for free, no charge. We're trying to get people involved. But yeah, you can come out and you can, if you want to shoot for fun, you can shoot right by yourself, just you and your wife, you and your kid, however you want to do it if you're shooting for fun. Now, if you want to shoot for points, then you have to have at least 3 adults in your group.
Okay.
And no less than 3, and no more than 5. Small groups.
So this is something that can be a very family event. It could be something that, hey, I just want to become a better hunter.
Yes.
This will be a good thing.
Most of us start to get better practice for hunting. Most of us get started that way, and then we get caught up in the competition aspect of it.
Right.
And I mean, you can be as serious about this as you want to be, and you can spend as much time and as much effort and as much money on it as you want to.
Yeah, the money side. Now, I noticed different bow setups. There's some that are, I look at it and I'm pretty sure that guy's not hunting with that bow, but I've seen some bows out here where that person just modified a couple things and they're shooting with what I would consider a hunting bow.
Right. And we have a bow hunter class.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's 40-yard max, hunting setups, screw-in points, no magnification on your sight. Now, see, my sight has a magnification lens.
Right.
For power. It's like a scope on your rifle.
Yeah, I watched you use that today, and it just how you quickly did so you were shooting unknown distance, you did an assessment, you just modified, basically just like a rifle. You're doing adjusting your left and right, up and down, and then you took the shot. That's a very interesting setup. I haven't seen that through my inexperience with this. The first time I've been out here.
That's a very common setup out here. You'll see a lot of them.
And I noticed that throughout the day. And then, but I think I would be interested in getting a hunting class as far as that. I might definitely check all this out.
Come on out and check us out, man.
Right. So you said your club was this. So if more people want to find out about it, specifically in North Carolina, where would they go to?
Go to our website. It's the Central Carolina Archery Association. Go on that. It's got all our directions to all our clubs. Contact people for all the club presidents. That's the best way to get in.
And these competitions, they are state? Are they national? Like, as far as if I was the guy and I'm doing really well, top 5 in your club, does my place go someplace else?
We have a Shooter of the Year award that we give away in each class at the end of the year for whoever is the top overall shooter.
That's nice.
In that class, and it's a belt buckle. It's a silver belt buckle from Silversmiths. It's a nice buckle.
Has the whole COVID thing, did you have to cancel some of your events?
We've been real fortunate.
This is a wide open area.
We've been real fortunate, and us being outdoor activity, small groups like I mentioned, we've been able to get by.
Yeah, this for y'all listening, this is essentially like a piece of a large agricultural property, semi-ranch, wide open spaces, everything today I felt extremely comfortable with. Then again, I'm not walking around like a bank robber either, but for people that might be nervous or something that, definitely here you've been absolutely fine if you were concerned about the whole corona thing and whatnot. Well, Dan, I really appreciate your time. It was wonderful hanging with your group today. Thank you so much. And I might have to check you all out.
Bring that hunting bow out and give us a shot.
Actually, I brought it out and shot. I need to adjust my windage. I was shooting way right, so I need to do some adjustments, but I did shoot it today on the practice targets.
Targets there for you to use.
Yep.
And then feel free to go out and shoot.
We like to feature your success in outdoor adventures, so shoot the pics over to us with a brief story. rootonesix.com and select contact. That's rootonesix.com and select contact.
On Target.
Welcome to our On Target segment, where you receive the inside scoop on brands, products, and training that can help you step up your hunt and range game. This week, Ron from Ryker USA covers the law as it applies to wearing a mask and carrying a gun in North Carolina.
What's up, everybody? This is Ron with Ryker USA coming to you with this week's On Target segment on the Route 16 Grind podcast. And for those of you that don't follow Ryker USA on social media, you might not have seen this, but I have been getting a lot of questions from my clients in reference to wearing a mask during this, whatever you want to call this pandemic. And like I said in my other video, if you didn't detect my sarcasm, I'm trying to put it on pretty thick in reference to this pandemic. But I got a lot of questions about, like, hey, there's a North Carolina law that says you can't wear a mask in public, in a store, and how does that correlate with our Second Amendment rights in the state, our right to concealed carry, and our right to open carry? So I figured I would go to the best possible resource I could think of, and I called the new Hanover County Sheriff's Office, and that's the county I live in the state of North Carolina. And I got lucky. I got a well-informed deputy who actually was just having this conversation a couple days prior to me calling. So it made it really helpful for her to navigate and tell me where to look. So basically, North Carolina General Statutes 14 Tac 12.2, 14 Tac 12.7, .8, .11, and .12. You can read through these, and they're all focused under the wearing of a mask. Now, you can wear a mask if a facility, a business, a store, or whatever requires you to wear a mask to entry and do business in there. You can wear a mask and carry concealed or carry and or open carry in the state. This law was written in 1953. And if anybody who's ever been in the military here, there's a bunch of old sea stories that one that used to float around Camp Lejeune was every Sunday from 12 to 1 o'clock, you could beat your spouse on the steps of City Hall with a 6-inch wooden club. That's not very big, but that's an old Carolina law that's still on the books. And from what I was told about that one years ago is a lot of people obviously aren't going to do that or enforce it. There's other laws that supersede it, but they haven't removed it because it's Carolina history. Getting back on track. So these general statutes about the wearing of a mask in public were written in 1953. And from what the deputy shared with me was the premise of these general statutes in 1953 were to shut down the Ku Klux Klan. They were to prevent people from wearing hoods, from burning crosses, vandalizing, harassing, murdering, all of the horrible things that the Ku Klux Klan is known for and has done over the years in our country. So this law was targeted directly at them in the state of North Carolina. And it hasn't really been updated since. It stayed on the books. And basically in there it's saying no hoods, not an attached hood, but a separate hood. No full masks other than that are acceptable for Halloween, if you guys are wearing Halloween masks. So don't go wearing trying to walk around and reenact a scene from the only Point Break, the first one, the best one, and put on the dead president's masks and go into Walmart while you're carrying a gun. It's just avoid it. But the other helpful information that she gave me is that as soon as they can open up and sit down and have a debate, they are going to create a new legislation, add another amendment to the general statute, and it's going to cover pandemics. And basically all it's going to say in there is the goal, what she has been told, is going to be if you are stopped by a law enforcement officer and you are wearing a mask, you are going to have to remove your mask to verify your ID and your face match, and then you can put your mask back on. That's pretty much the premise of it. Going forward, as it is right now, it does not infringe on our Second Amendment rights in the state of North Carolina. It does not prevent us from carrying concealed or open carry, providing you are a citizen of the state, you are not a felon, and you have the ability to legally own and possess a firearm in the state. So, general statutes, North Carolina General Statute 14 Tac 12.2, 7, 8, 11, 12. Check them out for yourself. And if you got any questions, I would hit up your local sheriff and potentially maybe if you got a lawyer buddy and see what they say. But that's it for this week. The more you know, knowledge is power. Stay informed, know your rights, and because it seems that our rights are being challenged at this point. But stay safe, and talk to you guys next week.
Want to support the show? How about becoming a Route 16 Grind Patreon today for as little as $1 a month? It's not just a contribution, but an investment that goes directly to the show. Help this podcast expand and grow. Check out the show notes for the links to our Patreon page.
Hey, this is Nicky G, and just say I'm running a little behind, just caught the show, and I not to get into too many details and take sides, but I agree with you 100%, Brian. Got to get out there and protest with your vote. In this country, we have the unique ability to vote. Not everybody has that right, so get out and use it. You don't like what's going on? Vote for the candidate that best suits your values or has the same mindset as you. And with that being said, I got a serious question. If something goes without saying, why do people still talk about it? I know, it's not that good, but what can I say? It's been a busy week. All right, guys, I'll chat you later and keep up the good work. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Nicky D, for calling back, and I appreciate your comments, and yeah, man, appreciate the support.
In the Rock, Mud, and Dirt is brought to you by Warren Industries. At Warren, we pour our effort and our thirst for adventure into every product we make. You better believe American pride runs deep here in Clackamas, Oregon. Here, a small army of engineers, technicians, machinists, and assemblers design and refine Warren products, bringing them as close to perfection as possible. Their work is backed up by legendary quality control that doesn't just stand up to rigid Warren standards, it lives up to the toughest demands of the world's top vehicle manufacturers and military suppliers. How do we know? Because they've partnered with Warren for decades. This quest for peerless reliability, this Warren difference, will be around as long as Warren Industries is in business. At least another 70 years. Go prepared. Go Warren.
Welcome to the Rock, Mud, and Dirt. This segment where I talk about the people, brands, products, and events from the off-road world. This week, I sit down with a great interview with Paul from NEXEN Tires. All right, everybody, welcome to the Rock, Mud, and Dirt. I am here with Paul from NEXEN. Paul, thank you so much for joining us, brother.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for inviting me to be on this podcast.
Yeah, it was quite a challenge. This was something that we've been working on for a few months, and just all the COVID and, volcanoes, meteorites, everything, zombie apocalypse, everything just came in. But we're here. We made it. We're doing good. So I appreciate you to find the time in your schedule with everything going on to be able to be here. So really appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm actually pretty excited. Yeah, it was pretty challenging, but I'm sure it's worth it.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about who you are?
So my name is Paul Joe. I've been in the automotive industry, can't even count, probably close to 30 years, because I think this year will be my 27th SEMA show that I'll be doing.
Oh, wow.
I guess you could say I've been around in the industry. I was, more from the tuner side of the world, I did the whole Fast and Furious 1, a lot of the vehicles that time. That's more of my background, but, I worked from, engine company down to aero, suspension, and I was part of the race team, doing the marketing, sales, and wrenching, and just right place at the right time. And I got recruited by Hankook Tire back in 2000, was that 2008, I believe?
Oh, wow.
So I was there handling all the motorsports, from, drifting, time attack, Formula cars, Ferrari Drivers Academy, like upcoming, Formula One drivers. Like I did a lot on that segment. And then, 2015 got recruited by NEXEN Tires. So I was like, nearby home, 5-minute drive. Why not? And then so I made the move and came to NEXEN and just started from ground up. There was no motorsport department or identity actually. So
right.
just had to start from the bottom, but it was was challenging, but it was really fun. So that's kind of like the short term of my, my history. So.
Yeah. So you're able to kind of just grow this baby. And speaking with that, like most people, they know NEXEN as a road and race tire, but you also have a trail ready line as well. Why don't you tell us a little about that history, the history of the brand and some of the products that you guys bring?
Yeah, actually, in America, NEXEN Tire is very, some people know it, some people don't. We've been in the U.S. for about 20 years. But as a brand, as a company, the manufacturing side, in Korea, it's been around over 70 years. So there's a lot of history with the company. But the company actually kind of focused a lot more on, just regular replacement tires, and then just start, just developing a lot of different tires. There wasn't a lot of testing behind it. I would say maybe 6 years, 6 years ago, maybe that's when the company really started to do some marketing. And that is one of the reasons why they recruited me, because, they wanted me to bring to the table some of the new strategies. So now, not only on race tires, and passenger tires, and, we do a lot of oil fitment for different manufacturers. But, we felt like we needed an off-road tire. So we started developing a few years back, and it's been in the market for 2 years. So the company actually, how would I say, we take pride in our quality.
Right.
A lot of people don't know. We do have one of the most advanced manufacturing facility in the world, where it's very automated, computerized. When we develop tires, not only we do a test on the field, on the track, on trails, whatever we need to do, but it's computer simulated as well to get a lot of different, like some of the cuts on the tires, like siphoning and certain patterns, create different noise. Not only you're not focusing on performance, but there's a noise factor too. So we put a lot of different things, and our manufacturer being so advanced that we try to minimize the error. So when you have a lot of human touching the tires, sometimes there's a defect. So we try to eliminate that, even though people are still touching the tire, but the machine itself controls a lot of the quality. So our quality control is very strict. So, the brand's been growing based on the quality. And now we've been focusing a lot more on the performance, putting a lot more effort into the design. And we've been launching a lot of new patterns the last couple of years. So we're pretty excited, and the brand is growing. So we're, trying to tackle everything, but not at once, obviously, just one by one.
Right. And each one of those is a new challenge as well. So tires are a huge market, but with off-road, why off-road, and what makes your off-road tire product line one that, we as, people that off-road and, we go out in the wilderness and we hunt, we want to get to that secret location for a fishing spot. Why should we consider, these off-road tires that you provide to set our rigs up with?
Well, for one, again, because a lot of people might not be familiar or maybe never heard of NEXEN Tire, but, so we don't want to put product out there and saying, hey, we're just one of those tire companies that's just pumping out tires, not worrying about quality or performance. So when we sat down and why we decided to go on off-road was, if you look at the whole United States, not only from the history, but, the market is huge. If you take the top 3 vehicles sold in America, anything from truck to sedan, sports car, the top 3 are the top 3 American trucks. You got the Ford, you got the Chevy, you got the Dodge. And then in there, you still have, the Jeep, the, Tacomas and 4Runners. And there's a lot of vehicles when you look at even the top 20. So we know the market's there. We need to have it because we don't. And I think instead of just developing regular off-road tires just to create it, it stands kind of like it represents our brand. And that's a segment that we don't have, and we felt that we needed. And so we really focused on the quality and the design and making sure that it's not a those cheap tires.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things too is, you might have an off-road tire. I've had problems with ones that are just being so soft, and they're fine, but they go soft quick, and you're replacing them after almost 30,000 miles, and they're pretty pricey and stuff depending on the size you get and whatnot. But you talked about testing earlier and stuff, and specifically with your off-road tire line, which one is that, and what type of testing that you put into that?
Well, the name of the tire is Rhodian MTX. And, before, normally people put MT as, mud terrain, but we put the X to say that it's extreme, but it doesn't look that extreme. And, some of those things where people get...
They look pretty nice. They look pretty nice. Yeah, You're being modest. They look
clean,
pretty good.
It's clean,
Yeah.
So, but we don't want to make it where it's too extreme, where it's only one-sided, right?
Right.
Because I think we all understand, if you look at the whole map of the U.S., it's not only big, but you got so many different terrains, right? From highway down to sand and mud and rocks. You got so many variables, and every state, every demographic is different. Some areas people don't care about noise. Some areas they do care about noise. Some people only care about size or whatever. So there's a lot of different things. So, we sat there and we're like, what can we create? So before we went actually testing, we were talking about the pattern, and we took a little bit of a different approach. We had a gentleman that's a good friend of ours. His name is John Sibol. His background was paint. He used to color DC comic books, the comic books that people buy. He was one of the ones that, helped draw and fill in the colors. And now he does a lot of rendering. And I reached out to him and said, hey, can you help us design a tire? And he was like, I don't design tires. And I said, that's why, just throw it out there. So he put some design, and then we kind of manipulated to put function. Then we came up with the design. And then, we wanted to stand out. So we're saying, what do we want to represent? And we're talking about the animal, dinosaurs, and, the claw. So we're like, let's put claw on the side. And then, but we still want the traditional, the blocks. So we said, you know what? Why don't we go 2 sidewalls? And so our tire actually has, one side actually has kind of like a claw look, mm-hmm. and the other side has a machine look, so that it kind of, you're able to represent, right? So it's kind of like, I like this design based on my vehicle, then you go with one design. And some people might go different design. I want that traditional machine look, then you go with that design. So we kind of wanted to outfit it where, it's catered to whatever how you want to represent. So we've created 2 different sidewall in the same tire. And then, when we actually went in testing, we want to focus on, obviously the first thing is safety. 2, we actually wanted to put, a lot of effort on the noise as much as it has to perform. So, we did a lot of computer simulation based on, because if you look at tires, it's not, you look at a block, but if you really look up close, every single block is like a different size because it has to have a certain rotation. It hums differently. Mm-hmm. So we created in a way that it's quiet. So, it's not going to be like regular passenger tire, but it's quiet enough that you're not going to be screaming inside the car to talk to each other, So that's one factor. But another thing is we created a tire that it's rated F on a load wise, which means you could put it up to 80 PSI. A lot of the tire brands out there doesn't put, a mud terrain tire that's 80 PSI. And the reason why we do that is when you're hauling with the Super Duty trucks, you want the same type of off-road tires to actually handle that weight,
Right.
Or else you have a lot of blowout or, it's just not safe. So we made sure that our tire is able to handle 80 PSI, but at the same time, when you think about 80 PSI, then you're thinking that tire is really stiff, but it's not. It actually, we put a lot of, different rubber compound on the sidewall, put a certain design where it's able to flex when you take a lot of the air out. So in theory, I don't want to say which brand, but when we tested, in order to get the same amount of footprint, our tire versus other tire, the other tire actually had to go down to anywhere between 10 to 12 PSI, where ours were 14. So
Oh, wow.
in theory, we get the same amount of footprint at a 14 PSI, which means you could still run our tires in an equal footprint without putting bead lock. Whereas other brands, in order to really maximize the grip, you have to get the bead lock, which means to the consumers, you have to spend a lot more money, and it's heavier
Exactly.
and a lot of different things. So, was it a luck that we're able to create that? You could say so, but end of the day, we're saying this is what we have. We're able to create maximizing the footprint when you're deflating, able to perform so that you're not only able to crawl on the rocks or go through a mud or sand, but at the same time, when the sidewall is able to flex like that, you're not going to get a lot of punctures, obviously. But also strong enough to take 80 PSI. So we're able to cater to a wide range of vehicles.
You guys just really, I'm just listening to all this, and what just kept resonating with me was y'all just seem to listen to the market, because what you have put out there with your off-road tire line is very much for the attraction. How I kind of learned from you. I listened to you on the Jeep Talk Show. I was like, I'm going to check these guys out. And I started looking at it. And that's one of the things I use my Jeep as a daily driver, but I want to be able to take it to the trail any day of the week as well. So I'm not, taking new tires, putting them on, whatever. So it's always trail ready in a sense. But the problem with that, after about 8,000 to 10,000 miles on a fresh new set of tires, that hum is really loud. And, you really don't buy a Jeep Wrangler for it to be quiet. But the fact that you kind of like listen to that, and then just the whole thing of, hey, the look, having one tire, one of the walls looking one way, another one looking a different way, because you're looking at the look and appeal for some people is what matters. I've seen people have some pretty insane tires on, Ford 250s, and I know that they're not taking that thing rock crawling, but they like the look. And then the dynamics of the fact of the 13 PSI being able to get that spread on a tire, that is pretty awesome, because that's something that everyone that goes out and enjoys going off-road, and that's always one of the biggest questions. Hey, how much PSI should I go down? And there's so many variables, but to know that, hey, I don't have to worry about going down to like to 8 PSI. I don't have bead locks on. But that is pretty cool. I tell you, I enjoyed this, listening to all that, and the amount of time and energy that you all must have spent on this is just significant.
Yes. We try to, again, in the past we were manufacturing tires. Currently we're trying to, put out a lot of cool, not only cool looking tire, but something that's going to perform, but also be safe. I think, there's so many different brands, there's hundreds of different brands out there, and not only our Roadian MTX, but we're just launching a new tire that's called Roadian. We have a GTX, which is more like a compact SUV. We also have, as much as race tires and snow tires. We have a lot of different tires, but a lot of the latest tire, we do a third-party test against, one of the top brands, like a brand like that starts with the M, for instance. And we're not, it's more of like so close that you don't know which one's better.
Right.
We get to that point. So for us to develop a good tire that is able to perform in all different segments, from braking, comfort, handling, wear life, everything else, but also, not as expensive as certain brands, we just want to make sure that we're able to, produce and provide a tire that people are going to be happy, and, I don't know if a lot of people realize, but a lot of different brands now provide warranties and like roadside assistance program for when you buy a set of tires or whatnot. But we were one of the first and had the best warranty program. Right now, everybody's kind of fighting to see who's the best. But at the same time, we have a program where, majority of the tires actually have like a mileage warranty or roadside assistance. So there's a lot of different things. So when you go into our website, NEXENTireUSA.com, you could see some of those tires, and knowing that when you buy a set and that, you're going to be covered on, from punctures and if you're stranded or whatnot, but you have to register. But I mean, we provide that kind of service when you buy our tires. So not every single tire has the same program, but generally we provide that kind of service for our tires.
Yeah, it's great. And I was on the website earlier just looking at the sidewalls too, and I just love the fact that they're just so different. They're not. It's not like, oh, this one's just a tiny bit different. They're just graphically different. So if you're those, for Jeepers especially, that making something more your own, that is really cool that you guys did that. Now you all might be doing some type of thing during the summer. You might be taking a trip or something like that. Hey, what you got going on?
Well, we're not one of those brands that's throwing money out there and try to put a lot of commercials and putting billboards out there. We're very careful on our spending. And, I think what's really important for the off-road, it doesn't matter if it's highway or, on the rocks, but that segment, we felt that we need to really dig deeper and work with the community, work with the consumers, our fans, so we could understand them, but also that we're there to represent our brand, to be out there for them. So we're trying to exhibit into a lot of different off-road expos or Jeep expos and what different events. So there's some out in the East Coast, and I'm from the West. Up to last year, I had a Tundra that was on Roadian and MTX, and I also bought a Jeep JKU.
Nice.
That has MTX, and I built it for SEMA. And I've been, out on Big Bear out here, just doing a lot of different crawling and, just off-roading. But I was like, it'll be cool if I'm able to go to different events out on the East Coast while at it, while I'm traveling, stop by different shops or maybe reach out to different clubs at different states, and meet with people so that not only I'm able to, introduce myself, but also get to know everybody, different clubs, different areas, and everybody's different. So I definitely want to understand our audience and connect with them. So that is one of the plans. We haven't really got to the details, but, I think I will definitely be on the road. I'm hoping that I could be on the road so that I'm able to meet with your listeners.
Yeah, that's great. Let us know what we can do for you. We'll love to keep tabs on that. We'll get the info out as you guys develop it. That's awesome. Hey, guys, listen up. If Paul hits on the road, make sure to let us know, hey, where would you like for him to visit and meet with them? And Paul, you just the deep history of everything that you got here. I mean, you're not a guy that's, got experience just in one part of the industry. I mean, you're kind of like full, well-rounded from the racing side all the way to just, driving on the road, if you will. So there's a lot of things that you could probably learn as well from Paul and things he can learn from you to make the brand even better and provide you a product that you actually want. And I will tell you, I can tell you right now, you guys definitely need to go to their website, NEXEN Tires USA, and check out the Roadian. Am I saying it right? It's Roadian, right? Roadian MTX?
Yes, Roadian MTX.
You need to check that tire out. That is a pretty beefy tire. I think you're going to like it. Definitely check it out. So you're going to see some en route pretty soon. And if you see me out there, we can definitely talk and you guys can check them out and whatnot. And Paul, I definitely want people to go to the website. I want people to connect with you. But what are some other ways that they can go and find NEXEN Tire information, updates, and all the different things you do? Because, some of our guys aren't just wheelers. They got passenger cars and, they got the big wagons, all that stuff.
Yeah. So obviously our website's there, we also have a community site, more for the tuner, but we're trying to integrate a lot of off-road into it. We have enferoclub.com, which is our community site. But also, I think once I know for a fact that I'm going to be on the road, I would love to, reach out to different clubs or, for club members to reach out to me. But also, at the same time, if you have a question or technical or whatever it is, I don't mind giving my but my work email. So you could go into our website and send it to Motorsports, or you could just send it to pjho@nexentiriusa.com. And that'll go to me and I'll answer all the questions that I need to. So, make sure that you're able to make the right decision before you buy a set of tires. So, but this is just the beginning for us. There's a lot more things that we're planning and producing, and there's going to be a lot more exciting stuff.
Yeah, we're excited for you. Definitely want to stay in touch, bring you back on. And if you hit that road, we'd love to hear some updates and some stories you have to share with our listeners as you make your trip across here. And, if you come out to the East Coast, definitely, I got a bed over here for you. You can hang out.
That sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Once I get that trip approved, I would love to come back to the show and throw more information out there so that I'm able to meet all the fans and the audience and the future people that I want to work with. Because again, we can't do much, without understanding everyone. I think every state, every different vehicle, everybody has a different requirement. And I would love to hear everybody. So we'll definitely get that plan going.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're going to meet some amazing people. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. It was a little hard, but we made it happen. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. It was a great time, and I would love to be back.
Oh, you'll come back. Don't worry about that. We'll make that happen. All right, guys, you'll go make sure to check out NEXENTireUSA.com. Check out their website. You got info. It'll be in the show notes. Go Adventure! This week on Go Adventure, given there has been so much focus on the negativity of the world, I'm going to go back into the Route 16 Grind archive and talk about some amazing people we have brought on the podcast and which episode they were on. If you are a new listener of the Route 16 Grind, this might be a great chance for you to download and listen to some of our older episodes that might inspire you to go adventure. So one of the first ones that I want to talk about is John Mapes. John runs Nora 4x4 up in Pennsylvania, or New York. And he also was one of the people that would put together an adventure race called 36 Hour Race, and we had one called 36 Hours Uwharrie. Now, we no longer have the 36 Hours Uwharrie, but he did discuss some things about some potential to get that race reignited and potentially in some different locations, which we're all about. John is a huge supporter of the off-road community and a huge supporter to getting people out there and challenging themselves with a variety of different things, specifically toward the off-road realm. And he had some wonderful things that he shared. He actually works in his Nora 4x4 actually brings out like corporate people, and they do team building exercises. And he had a great story where he talked about one of those moments where you just see this individual, normally just kind of the quiet, not really interactive, and they kind of blossom in their own, and they get that confidence, and they're able to reflect things that they've never been challenged with before and find out how successful they can be with them. And that's one of the great things I just love about doing this podcast. I'll probably say it forever and ever, is we want you to get out there, man. These problems are not going to solve themselves by you just sitting at home. They're just not. You got to get out in the community. You got to do something. You got to find some common ground, get an activity. It helps your health. It helps your confidence. It helps you just grow individually. And John's a huge supporter of the Route 16 group. And I really appreciate him. It's a great episode. I highly encourage you to go back and check out episode 2. So moving along to some other ones, how about we check out, one near and dear to my heart was episode 4, Granny Got a Buck. Now, this is one where I actually share a personal story about my son's very first harvest. It was a pig. We went out and we were able to be guests at Mortalis Outdoor Adventures out here in the coastal area of North Carolina. And it was just a phenomenal experience. Just expressing it from a father point of view of all that work, all that effort, where you're trying to transfer your knowledge to your child and ensuring that he's safe, ensuring that he's confident, and he's able to apply all the things that you're teaching him as he develops into a young man. And this is one other reason I love the fact that I got back in hunting after decades. It's just something else I can share with my son and we can connect and bond with. And it's a very special episode around that Thanksgiving time of year, I believe. I think I shared a Thanksgiving or turkey recipe. It's really damn good. You ought to check that out. But that's episode 4, Granny Got a Buck. And episode 5, oh my goodness, man, this is where if you want to know more about, if you haven't listened to episode 5, you need to check out episode 5. This is where we interviewed my good friend, my brother, Ron from Ryker USA. And just a phenomenal interview. Enjoyed it so much. We had so much fun. And you get a deeper history of who he is and what is he has done and where he's going. And he is such a great mentor to so many people out there. He's a great coach, and he's a good inspiration for many to look up to. He's an amazing person. I'm so glad that I know him, and that dude's a brother for life. And, again, I'm just going to go through some of these special episodes. I'm not saying don't listen to them all, but there's just some I'm going to kind of highlight and express to you. Oh, man, Sir William Go. So you heard him last week. That is episode 7, Go Adventure, Sir. Unfortunately, the audio, I'm just going to be honest with you, it wasn't the greatest. It was such a good interview with Sir William Goes. And you get his deep history of why he started his YouTube channel and stuff. And I don't want to ruin it for you. It's a very interesting story and just what he enjoys by sharing his content and adventures and truly looking to inspire others to get out there and, again, just go seek some adventure yourself. And his area is overlanding and stuff, but he has a great story. You definitely should check it out. An amazing person. I'm so glad of his contributions and what he does. Episode 8, we had Axe Overland. This is an American that lives over in the UK. Phenomenal story. He actually has a diesel Jeep, obviously right side driven, and he shares kind of that story with it, and also trying to get parts and accessories in the areas that he's at. He has a great following as well, and you should definitely check him out. He's out there, and that was episode 8. One of our most downloaded episode is episode 11. It is Reboot Yourself. That is an amazing story from an amazing organization that helps veterans just kind of reset and get outdoors. We interviewed Dan from Operation Reboot Outdoors, and we loved hearing his wife in the background kind of help him out in that interview. And I think that was his very first podcast. We were so blessed to have him, and he has just exploded, and they're doing some amazing things up there in Maine. And this guy has a huge heart. Army Ranger with combat experience, and he gets it, and he understands. Hey, one of the best communities. That's very fortunate with veterans. There's so many resources for you to connect. You need assistance to reach out to. Veterans are very good about setting up things to help other veterans, whether it be an individual level, a group level, corporate level, whatever it may be. There's so many resources out there. And if you're somebody that's just like kind of nervous, like, man, I never hunted before, I'm not really sure, this is a great organization to check out. They do a variety of different things out there. They do some amazing fishing, ice fishing out in the winter. I was totally impressed. And you know what? I need to kind of get up there and check them out. And that, again, is episode 11, Reboot Yourself. Episode 12, we have Fish, Guns, and Kings. In Go Adventure, we interviewed Erica. She is a New York State angler, and she's all about getting her fish on. And I tell you what, her Instagram has just exploded. Every day she's putting out some amazing content with these fish that she's catching. She's extremely knowledgeable angler, and she has a great story of why she fishes and just what it brings for her. And it was just an amazing story, and we were so happy. I literally just, I was just going on Instagram, just looking at people and different the hashtags, whatever, and I found her, and I was like, man, I would like to learn more about this story here. And wow, man, just an amazing story. Someone to definitely check out, and for sure, somebody that you yourself probably can learn from and be inspired with. In episode 16, we talked to the Bearded Jeeper. This guy has some great story. He has an amazing YouTube channel. He puts out some great content, and he's just looking to help other people like him. He's very honest and sincere in everything he's putting out. When he puts a review out on the equipment that he's looking at, it's an honest review. He has so if you're off-roader, you're a Jeeper, or you're just somebody who just enjoys watching that type of content, you guys should check out the Bearded Jeeper. That is episode 16. Amazing guy. We're definitely going to bring him back on. Well, we'll probably bring a little bit of everybody back on. I enjoyed all these guys. Well, guys and gals, we definitely had a few women on the show as well. And speaking of which, one very special lady is Cheryl from herjeeplife.com. She has a great story. She has a couple of Jeeps, and she is all about getting out there overlanding. She's all about doing her own thing, and she puts out some great, amazing information to help other Jeepers, male, female, whatever. She's a great person, fantastic interview. She has a great brand. You can check her out at herjeeplife.com. That is episode 10, and another great female role model, and just someone that can outright inspire you. Rachel from Record a Journey. That was episode 13. Amazing person, an amazing story, amazing organization. And this episode was something near and dear to me too, because I covered Enduring Gratitude, which was really the organization that stimulated me to get out there and get back to hunting. I participated in, there was like an event. It's called Enduring Gratitude. That's done every year. You listen to podcasts, you probably heard me mention this 5-6 times, but that is an event that happened. I went pheasant hunting. I had a wonderful experience with other veterans, and I just realized when I came home that this is something I want to get back into. And more importantly, my family identified and say, hey, I know what you did out there, but you need to, probably do this more often because you just seem very happy. And it did a lot for me. And then obviously the compounding events after that was, hey, you know what? I would love to share this message with my journey, with all the things I enjoy, thus the Route 16 Grind podcast, and helping others tell their story and share their message, and hopefully inspire you to do things that will help you stay positive, help you stay healthy, help you connect with family members, friends, connect with new people, share ideas. And, big thing, just kind of keep things positive. We need more of that round now more than ever. And that's so cliche to say that, I know, but we really do. We need to engage as people and communicate. And it's not really working through Facebook. It's not really working through Twitter and all these other things. They're just facades. They really are. They're facades. And you're never able to, there's something different about talking to people when you're right there in front of them, and take the whole aspect of, chest bowing out. I'm just talking about ideas. To capture the emotion of someone when they pass an idea, to see their physical representation of that is something that is totally missing. And I think we forget that part of it. I think personally, when we speak to people face to face and not in these, horrific crowds and riots that are going on, that's not conversation. That's just stupidity, in my opinion. We can actually have good dialogue. We can learn from each other. We can be respectful. And more importantly, we can show that and reflect that onto the next generation, and they can, transfer that down to their kids and whatnot. We need to have solid communication. So this long portion of the Go Adventure, me sharing some of these past episodes and people and whatnot, the intent of it is this: there are some amazing people out there. And if you're walking through life and just doing your thing, hiding in your room on Facebook, and that's the only way that you're identifying, communicating with groups, organizations, and whatnot. Oh, hey, I hashtag therefore, and I'm activist. No, you're not. You're absolutely not. You're not someone out there getting out there and actually exchanging ideas and looking for solutions. More importantly, working on the solution as well. Start listening to some of these podcasts, and you can fast forward through things that maybe you're not a wheeler or whatever. Hey, go fast forward to the things that you enjoy, whatever. It doesn't hurt my feelings any. But I'm hoping that the people that do come on here, somewhere out there, they're connecting with you, and you're realizing that, hey, you know what? You can do a lot more than what you're doing right now. You can challenge yourself. There's really no excuse for you not to. And if you need help, there's plenty of people and organizations out there to help you. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion, or if you don't have a religion. I just care that you're human, that you're respectful, that you treat people with respect. You're just all around, you know how to be a good person. Reflect that. That's all that matters. To me, that's the only criteria. If you can do that and I can do that, I think we can be friends. My own values and morals and everything else, those are mine. I'm not there to push them on you. I'll give you my opinion if you ask for it, if we're in general conversation, but I'm not going to sit there and judge you because we don't agree. You have the reason you think that way, and I have the reason I think that way. When we exchange ideas, we can learn, and maybe we can find common ground, or maybe I can say, you know what? Your way's a little bit better, and I need to rethink things. That absolutely has happened with me. I would say 10 years ago, I didn't have as much empathy as I have today. I can honestly say that. And that whole transition has happened specifically because of all these different things that I have done with integrating with groups and whatnot. You just cannot evolve. You cannot become a more whole person when you don't exchange with other people in the sense of ideas and communication. It's positive communication. And more importantly, and I use this example a lot on the podcast too, is like when you're going on a trail and you get a new person out there, right? and they're just very nervous. They're like, oh, they're not sure. I'm not going to be able to do this. And you see their progression out the day. You know, they win. Believe me, they win. They do a great job. But really, we all win because we had the opportunity to experience that. And that is amazing. When we do good things, we all win. We really do. And so I'm hoping that this podcast, I'm really hoping that these different segments, there's things that are connecting with you and things that are inspiring you. Get out there, guys, and go adventure.
Since 1989, Tuffy Security Products has been the industry leader in automotive security. Tuffy has a variety of vehicle-specific consoles, drawers, and lockboxes. Tuffy manufactures adventure-ready organization and security for your Jeep, truck, or SUV. Visit TuffyProducts.com and use special offer code GRIND to save 10% on your order. The Cup of Joe segment is brought to you by C-State Coffee. Have you ever actually drank good coffee? Stop wasting your money on old, stale coffee from the store and make the switch to C-State Coffee. C-State Coffee is a United States Marine Corps veteran-owned and operated roastery, selling premium coffee that's roasted on order and delivered fresh to you. Order your coffee today at www.cstatecoffee.com.
Well, I have to say this is, I don't know what number of show I did this by myself, but I will say just in my own personal assessment, this is probably the best show I've done solo. I've never felt really comfortable about doing these by myself. And, it's just fun when you have someone to talk to. But I really did enjoy this. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just have had some amazing people that I was able to meet and speak to this past week. And I was happy to share that with you. And that really inspired me to go with the Go Adventure segment that I did this week. And hopefully next week, I'm going to have someone pretty interesting for that segment. I'm trying to get a hold of someone really cool. Well, I always have cool people, don't get me wrong. But I got someone that I think you might know. And I hope I'm able to get them on. And if not, we'll try for a future date. But I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Just kind of follow our social media and see if that's going to happen. So we talked about Senate Bill 3422, the Great American Outdoors Act, and that's a big deal. Check with your senators, go on our show notes and make sure that, hey, your senator is supporting this. If not, connect with them. And far as people that represent your district, I would be talking to them already too. No bill is perfect. There's a couple things with the corresponding bills that I'm looking at. I'm not too sure how I feel about those. But this is something you can look at for yourself and find out, hey, this is the direction I would go. And maybe you have a better solution of how we could do this. This one's not too bad and evil. Hopefully when it gets to the House, it's not going to be, corrupted with all this other pork added to it. Hopefully it stays intact. But we'll wait and see. But please contact your representative, your senator, and let them know how you feel. It's a very important act. Get involved and let's take care of those lands. I definitely want to give a shout out again to the Moore County bow hunters in North Carolina and members of the Central Carolina Archery Association. They were great hosts for me, and they helped guide me through the 3D competitions. Absolutely knew nothing about any of that. I just, I saw it. I thought I'd check it out, and I'm kind of interested in it. I talked to my son about it too, and I was like, I might get you a bow, and we might go do these together. I'm no different than y'all. I too seek different experiences, challenges, engagement. And this is why I have this podcast. The 3D shooting competition is something very new to me, and I'm glad I got off the couch and checked it out. I'm sure there are similar competitions in your area. It shouldn't be too hard to find where they're at. And if you need help, then, help finding them, then just contact me. I'm more than happy to help you out. I'm connected to a lot of different people. And you know what? I don't have any shame with asking. I already start with a no, so I'm fine with searching for a yes. Instructor One, Ron from Ryker USA, he provided us something this week that, I got to be honest, I did not even think about it until he sent me the recording. The summary of it all was, we need to stay informed with what laws have impact to our rights. More importantly, how your local law enforcement reacts to and potentially enforces these questionable executive orders that are going on out there. And if you're not doing so already, you definitely should be following Ryker USA. They do an amazing job of keeping us gun owners safe and well informed. They are amazing people. It's a veteran-owned company, a veteran structure. They do some great training. And if you need to know how to connect with them, if you're in the North Carolina area or if you're looking for their products, or you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm more than happy to help you. Paul, hey, appreciate you coming on from NEXEN Tire. Learned a lot about their brand, learned a lot about their tires and what they did to progress into the off-road realm. It was very challenging to find the time for the interview. Believe me, it's been very challenging with the world on fire lately. Make sure to follow Route 16 and NEXEN Tire to stay up to date on things to come, specifically a future road trip where you, your club, your organization might have a chance to host Paul as he's making his trip throughout the country. I'm looking forward to it, and I really do hope he stops in my area. It'd be great to meet him. I would love to hear more about some of the stories that he shared and some of his background. Now, also, hey, everybody, remember, the My Worst Recovery giveaway is still going on all month long. The hashtag My Worst Recovery. You can win a Factor 55 Haas Fairlead 1.0, a Flat Link E Expert with a Flat Link rope guard. Patreons, you guys, you're already automatically entered. But the higher level Patreon, the more bonus entries you get. Now, how can you make more entries, if you will? You can leave us a review on Stitcher and Apple Podcasts or even YouTube. You're entered. Complete some other action items. You could earn 2 entries by following Route 16 and Factor 55 on Instagram and Facebook. You can earn 3 entries, entering entries by posting a picture with text, photos, with audio or video. So however you want to do it. You can send a picture and put some, text to it. You can post a photo and put some audio to it. You can post a video and talk about your worst recovery. Make sure to hashtag My Worst Recovery, hashtag Factor 55, and hashtag Route 16 Grind. You can earn another entry for each friend you tag on the Route 16 Grind episode that post in June on Facebook and Instagram. So when I post it up later tonight and you see episode 25 and you tag your friends and you share that, hey, you get some entries. So that's awesome. You get another entry for sharing any Route 16 Grind episode and post on Instagram and Facebook. The winner. So basically, is a nutshell. If you're still confused, you can look at the show notes and figure that out. You can hit me up, or you can just hashtag away, follow everything. The biggest thing is this. Make sure that you're showing a love for Fat 55, the Route 16 Grind, Route 16, and share the story. That would be really fun. I'm just being honest here, man. I mean, it could be like a fishing story, a little bit of truth, a little bit. I'm not sure that's how truthful that is. Be creative, be fun, enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So the winner's going to be announced no later than 30 June, 2020. So it's going to go all month long. Give plenty of people opportunity to get in there and enjoy whatever content that you guys produce. This is a way for us to get engaged, and we're real appreciative for Factor 55 throwing in those items for the giveaway. Now, again, if you go back to the last podcast, remember what Justin shared with us is, if you already have some of these items, or, if you have a steel cable, winch, etc., they can modify to your needs. So if you're like, man, I don't really need that stuff. Well, if you win, Factor 55 is willing to provide you something for winning. So don't feel that, hey, you have to accept these items. If it's something that you already have and, you would like maybe some different Factor 55 items, then that's something that you as a winner could discuss with Justin and get something that you might need in that kit. Summary again, man, the more you do, the more entries you get. Let's have some creativity. Let's have some fun submissions for hashtag My Worst Recovery. We might even have some honorable mention prizes, but you can't win unless you participate. And I'm telling you, if you guys start getting crazy out there, I'm more than happy to see what I can do to maybe get some honorable mention prizes and stuff. We can make it happen, but you have to enter. So go out there, hashtag My Worst Recovery, and make sure you hashtag Route 16 Grind and Factor 55. So this week in my closing remarks, I just want to pass on to you. This is episode 25. I'm extremely appreciative to all the listeners that we have gained. Appreciate all the support from everyone that has sponsored us, helped us out get here. I have received so much assistance from different people I haven't even known. People on YouTube, hey, how you do this sound and whatever. People I don't normally even speak with. People have come on the show last minute. Hey, this guy bailed. Can you jump on? Sure, no problem. The people that have jumped in to be a host. I mean, I'm so fortunate to have Chuck, so fortunate to have Ethan. I've been very fortunate to be able to bring on some of the excitement that I have when I do all these different activities and as well as events. And more importantly, again, it goes back to the people. Just met some amazing people throughout this journey as I built the brand Route 16 and everything that I'm doing from the outdoors community, if you will. Now, wheeling season kind of started out here. I wasn't able to go last weekend because my wonderful son graduated high school, and I'm so proud of him. Now, some of you know, some of you may not know, my oldest son, Tyler, has Down syndrome. And so I tell you, that kid is like instant love. I'm very fortunate to be his father and to be in his life. That kid's been in my life since he was 4. And I'm just extremely proud of you, Tyler. And you mean the world to me. You have taught me so much when it comes to words like love, empathy, happiness, joy. You are by far the picture that should be next to in the dictionary for those words. You're an amazing son, and I look forward to the next things on your journey. Yeah, so that right there, dude, I love that kid. So thank you so much, Tyler. And thank you all so much for listening to the Route 16 Grind. Appreciate you joining us. Remember, you have an idea, or maybe you would like to contribute to one of our segments. All you have to do is go to rootonesix.com and select contact. Then let us know your idea. We're more than happy to think about it, and maybe we'll put it on. And again, all you need to do is go to rootonesix.com, rootonesix.com, and select contact. We would love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to the Route 16 Grind. We want to thank our amazing sponsors, Warren Industries, Tuffy Security Products, C-State Coffee, and Route 16 Off-Road for their support. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and more. Just look for Route 16. That's ROOTONESIX. Or just go to rootonesix.com. Until next week, plan smart, be safe, and as always, be prepared.
That wasn't too bad for talking to myself.
Yeah!